All right, welcome to Gundam Explained. My name is Adam. Today's episode, we're going to continue our Unicorn review, and we're on episode 6, Two Worlds, Two Tomorrows. It's been fascinating seeing how things have been going with Gundam Unicorn and where they are about to go. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. Have a giveaway going on once I hit maybe 350 or at least 400, or at the most 400. I'll be giving away the RX-78-2 Beyond Global High Grade model kit. So yeah, be sure to subscribe. So as we start off, what happens is the Grenadiers team meets up with the Earth Federation force that's with Banagher, Maneva. They're actually on the Nahel Argama, right? And what's going on here is the General Revil, which is part of the Earth Federation fleet, is actually advancing on them to destroy them because Banagher's on there with the Unicorn. They feel like by destroying that and the people involved, that kind of hides the secret of Laplace's box. And at this point, the General Revil fleet's moving in with some awesome mobile suits. And unfortunately, Banagher can't get his Unicorn to take off. He had used all his psycho waves, his psychommu power, psycho frame power to lift it up and connect the ship with the Nahel Argama in order to get up into space and get everyone together. That's one of my favorite shots from Gundam Unicorn, just seeing Angelo as the camera zooms into the Rosen Zulu. What was that? So Banagher can't take off. The Nahel Argama can't defend themselves. You have the Neo Zeon soldiers. They're actually on the Nahel Argama as well. But Full Frontal shows up and starts taking out the General Revil fleet. And what's interesting here is even Angelo in the Rosen Zulu is disabling the mobile suits rather than killing. And the General Revil fires these missiles out that kind of messes up the range in which they're fighting, so the beam weaponry just does not work for Full Frontal. That was cool. That was too. And as we see here, the Earth Federation is still trying to save their men, and I kind of like that. So they've grabbed one of the escape pods to take it back to the Revil. Really cool shot with Maneva and Banagher. She's talking about her time on Earth, and it kind of helps her get a new perspective as she has to make a choice of what to do with Laplace's box. All right, and here we see the Tri-Stars kind of sneak up on the Grenadiers, really to not really destroy them, but to, capture them. And little did the Tri-Stars know that there was bomb planted in the Grenadiers, and just detonated on them. So not only did the audience not realize that really all of them are on the Nahel Argama. And here we see Bright Noah getting scolded by Martha because Banagher got away. Everyone got away. Yeah, who knew Full Frontal would come in here and help out? Really cool shot here, seeing the Earth Federation mobile suits, the Neo Zeon mobile suits. They're kind of having to work together right now for the reason of securing Laplace's box. You can even see how when they pass each other by, they kind of have snarky things to say to each other. Some of the members aboard the Nahel Argama just don't agree with working with Neo Zeon. And here we go with some of the interesting conflict of the Federation forces, Neo Zeon, inside the ship. Some are not willing to work together, and that's on both sides as well. Now, Captain Otto goes over the intercom system to kind of motivate each other to work together, even though he doesn't agree with the situation either. And this is kind of good character development for Captain Otto, as he kind of seemed a little unsure about everything, but now he's kind of taken a stand of knowing things aren't black and white, but we have to move forward with this in whatever way possible. Yeah, here we have Angelo and Full Frontal on the deck of the Nahel Argama with Captain Otto, and Full Frontal is kind of trying to take charge here. Otto asks him, what are your intentions with Laplace's box? This is when Maneva steps in, and she really steps in as Princess Maneva Zabi. She is, instead of using her kind of Audrey persona, she really is taking charge in the situation, demanding to know what Full Frontal is up to. And he starts diving into that prosperity. I forget the actual name of it, but the idea where all of the kind of the Earth sphere from the moon to the asteroid bases to the colonies would not rely on Earth anymore. The idea is to cut Earth off from everything, be able to supply themselves with everything. And one of the main issues here is about food supply, because Earth is having issues with that, with the way the environment's changing, kind of things that we're discussing now, issues of today. And so they're having to rely on the colonies and asteroids and the moon to produce food. Now, what's interesting is if we go forward in time in the UC timeline, for G-Savior, the live-action movie from 1999, the whole premise of that film was the fact that on Earth, they figured out a way to do farming underwater on the ocean floor, and they have that base down there that was made for that. And the main, I guess, story idea here is that was that the other group that wanted to kind of stop that food production from happening on Earth because they wanted to control that. So it almost mirrors the intentions here, and I think this is a really interesting callback or almost connection between G-Savior and Unicorn, and it really helps make G-Savior as legitimate as it should be in the Gundam Universal Century. And anyway, Banagher knows the details of where to go next for Laplace's box, and for Frontal knows this as well, and he's hoping to follow Banagher there. All right, and then we get a shot of Riddy leaving the shuttle that took him up to space from Earth, and here is where his motivations are a little different. He's supposed to just help secure Laplace's box. Alberto Vist really doesn't like the violence that's occurring and knows the potential of lives being lost by obtaining Laplace's box. So he's hoping that Riddy, now in the Black Unicorn or the Banshee, would be able to intervene and perhaps help scatter the people or somehow get the Unicorn another way. Haro. So Marita has potentially recovered, and she's having a nice little back and forth with Banagher. It's a pretty good scene. Here's an interesting little back and forth with Zinnerman and Full Frontal on the Revil. And Full Frontal just kind of puts out there, if Char was alive today, he wouldn't be fully human. What does that mean? Put in the comments if you have an idea of what he could be saying there. All right, so the Revil is paging the Nahel Argama, and it's almost like they don't really know what they should be doing here. Angelo is saying just launch an attack, and really the Nahel Argama and Otto really doesn't want to do that because they don't want to cause any issues. They're really trying to figure out what to do here. Luckily, while this is going on, the ECOWAS team, remember from earlier, they kind of have this little operation where they come in and take back control of the Nahel Argama. And as we see, maybe luckily for sake of action in this, Angelo gets away. And a really cool line to see here is as ECOWAS team is speaking with Banagher, they're telling him to get out there, see if you can take out the Neo Zeon mobile suits. But really the idea here is to keep unnecessary combat to a minimum. So I kind of like that, where people are actively trying to do things in as peaceful as a manner as you can. And then we get this long scene where I'm sure the left side of Banagher's face is in a lot of pain, but Full Frontal's really just drilling into him his thoughts on the whole thing, his ideology, and we're just kind of sitting here watching that as Marita shows up randomly. And while being piloted by Marita, it's Maneva that's inside speaking, really just trying to talk sense into everybody here. And so there's a lot of like talking back and forth going on just about who's right and what's right. Angelo starts attacking, almost takes out Zinnerman, and then there's an interesting scene where again Zinnerman is thinking of his daughters, trying to say, Marita, no, don't fight. And then she's like, oh, no, just let me do what I want to do for once. And he's like, yeah, okay, you go and you do it. So he's really telling her what to do. And then so the Unicorn grabbed onto the Rosenzulu's cables while it was grabbing onto Marita's kind of fixed Kshatriya. And then I guess some energy is flowing. And I guess it's supposed to be positive psycho waves. And Angelo just doesn't want to have any of that. So here's a table of all the high-ranking officials from Earth Federation. And really what's going on here is Martha's going to help convince them, let's just fire a giant laser beam and kill everybody involved. We know the coordinates where they're going to be. Let's just take them all out. And here we see the full armor Gundam. And then we get a cool scene with the Banshee against some of the Nahel Argama mobile suits, really trying to stall him. But yeah, Banage comes on in and they start clashing. All right, and that is it for episode 6 of Unicorn Gundam. So, overall, this is a really cool episode. There's a lot of scenes with kind of extended dialogue, kind of touching on things we're already familiar with, like Zinnerman's, relationship with Marita, what Full Frontal really wants to do. They did dive more into it, but then him just really egging on Banage so much, but we get to see some really cool mobile suits, some cool mobile suit battles, especially the beginning, and Angelo's version Zulu and all that stuff. Really cool. So yeah, leave in the comments below what you thought of the episode, and I really can't wait to finish this up. What was that?